Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. Tonight, min a nidiad dad I cow sien movie moments. Oh here, oh I rings, I ghoul, oh I really, oh ghoul has endured and decades high. Oh hobbits, now wizards, na I all-seeing hend, I echo no the end, hein all, haze neo, sen rings facts.
Well, thank you very much, Ganpav, or whatever your name is. So, number one, Sean Connery was original choice for Gandalf, but turned it down as he didn't understand the script.
Potatoes.
Christopher
I can't wait to hear all these.
Here we go. Christopher Lee had read the Lord of the Rings books every year for over 40 years before getting the role of Saruman.
Didn't he...
I wish the ring had never come to me.
Oh, didn't he originally want to be Gandalf?
Oh, I believe so. It might say that in the facts later on down the line.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you finish. And then I'll correct you. No, just kidding.
That's all right. You're all right. The Beatles were the first to try and make a movie out of the books, but Tolkien wasn't keen on it, so they put it to bed.
You bow to no one.
Watching the three extended films in one day will take you approximately 9 to 10 hours to complete. Each film takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete on their own.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
The production of the films required an extensive number of practical effects. Over 10,000 prosthetic facial appliances were used, and over 3,500 pairs of hobbit feet were made.
For Frodo.
Viggo Mortensen became an incredible swordsman over the course of the trilogy.
A wizard is never late.
In order to show the huge importance and weight of the One Ring, the floor was built to be magnetic, so when Bilbo dropped the ring, it wouldn't bounce.
Death is just another path.
Jake Gyllenhaal auditioned for the role of Frodo and recalled it as being literally the worst audition he'd ever done.
The crownless again shall be king.
Both Nicolas Cage and Daniel Day-Lewis turned down the role of Aragorn.
Stupid fat hobbit.
And the Two Towers, the Battle of Helm's Deep, alone took 3.5 months to film.
You shall not pass!
There you go. You shall not pass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast. We're doing Lord of the Rings movie moments, if you haven't already guessed. And the person we've got to blame for this is our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Sophie Green. Yay!
I know, I thought I'd give you the longest possible thing to watch in preparation for this.
Oh, my Lord.
I don't even like Lord of the Rings. I've never even seen it.
No, I haven't. I don't know why we're doing it. I really don't. I will start by saying I don't know all the names. So all of you super fans out there that know the names of all the places and characters and battles, I don't. So please bear with me. Sophie, hello. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. So you are a Lord of the Rings fan.
Yes.
On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you count yourself as a super fan or not?
I would say I'm possibly like 7. But on terms of knowledge, I'd say like 5, maybe 4 even. Just because I know they're not just films, it's like a world, you know, and obviously the novels as well, which I've only read a very, very small part of. So I too am terrible at names, and you know, some of the facts contradict each other between the film and the books and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure you're going to be getting lots of angry emails on my behalf. So,
well, if we have any real super fans that are very offended by anything we say, Sophie is on Twitter, or X as it's called now. So please, can you just put all of the anger that way? I'm only joking.
You did well in your intro though, Pav. With what were you speaking there? Elvish.
That was actually, I'm glad you asked, Neil. That was Sindarin, which is one of the 2 Elvish languages spoken in Lord of the Rings. I could have gone Orcish.
Wow.
So I don't
Orcish.
know. Yeah. So so thank you, Google, for translating the.
You should have said you learnt it. Don't admit to Google.
No, because I butchered it as much as I did anyway.
Or you should have said I learned off Duolingo.
Yeah,
that is an option. So
that is an option. Sophie, so you are a podcaster. You are also an artist. As you probably noticed on Twitter, I watch every time you've got a video up about you doing some art. It's fascinating. Where did that come from? Where did that start?
Well, as you will find out as we get further into this episode, I tend to fixate on things, and art and animals just happen to be one of those things. So it was something that I just kind of did as a hobby on the side of various different jobs, and then eventually it became my career, and then the rest is history. But yeah, it's just something I enjoy doing.
But that's a hobby. How can you be that good at something that's just a hobby?
Well, I think if you put enough hours into anything, you can get really good at it.
Do you think?
If I'm honest. Yeah, I think that if I really tried, I could get as good at, I don't know, like carpentry as I am at art, or learn a language or something like that. It's just the number of hours you put in, isn't it? And I do put in a lot of hours, so that's possibly why.
Well, by looking at the art that you've done, I would say you've definitely done your 10,000 hours at least.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And then when it comes to podcasting, you do a podcast with our friend, copyright the nicest man on the internet, Giles Paley Phillips. How did that all come about?
Well, Giles and I have been friends for years, and I've been on various podcasts. He's produced and co-hosted, and we hang out all the time. We chat all the time, and it kind of came about through, chatting, and then Giles sort of saying we should do a podcast, like most people probably, to be fair. And I put it off for a little bit, and then eventually was like, okay, I'll do a podcast, but only if I do it with you. And we're interviewing cool people. So that's what we now do. But it's weird because it's so new. I mean, we only released a few months ago, so it doesn't really feel natural calling myself a podcaster just yet, but getting there.
But you are. Unquestionable is the name of the podcast, isn't it? I think we'll talk a bit more about it at the end as well, because I was listening to a couple of episodes yesterday. And I mean, the thing is, Giles is just Giles, isn't he? We've had him on our different podcasts so many times. We love him. We absolutely. He's a lovely, lovely person. So
he is lovely, and he's got a great radio voice as well. So he's born for podcasting.
Indeed, he has. He has. Okay, right. Let's get at the matter. I mean, I'm just hoping that this isn't going to go on as long as the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. It might do. You never know.
I was curious. Did you guys watch the extended versions? Because I think I've got maybe one or two.
No, I haven't. I watched the Fellowship of the Ring, but a while ago. It was a while ago, the extended version. Okay. And to be fair, I haven't even watched Lord of the Rings again since we've said we were going to do this.
Oh, that's brave, blimey!
But I must admit, making my top 10, I got my top 8 just straight away by just remembering the stuff that I really enjoyed watching it before.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I ran my list past Giles. And he sort of said, oh, if we get the same one, you can just say, oh, that's my number 8 or whatever. And then he went, looking down your list, I don't think that they're going to have the same ones as you, though.
Well, you never know.
Well, let's put that to the test, Sophie, and let's have your number 10, please.
Okay. It's very niche. And it's something that I quite regularly. So it's when they're walking through Lothlorien, and Gimli's saying, oh, I have the eyes of a hawk and the ears of a fox, and then he gets an arrow sort of right into his face, and then the elf comes up to him and says, the dwarf breathes so loud we could have shot him in the dark, and that's just one of my favorite parts of the whole trilogy, just because that elf is just so sassy. I can't remember his name. I've forgotten. I think it's Haldir. the name of the elf, but yeah, he's the sassy elf. He ends up dying later on in the Battle of Helm's Deep, and I love him. So that's number 10. It had to go on the list.
Okay, is this from
great.
Two Towers?
No, this is
Well,
from
that's
the
from
Fellowship of the Rings.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just before they meet Galadriel.
Right, okay. But what I still watch clips of it like I was doing over the last couple of weeks, and I cannot believe that's John Rhys Davies that's playing Gimli. That's
I know.
Salah from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I love Gimli, and I also love Salah, is his name.
Yeah.
And I quote both of them quite regularly in normal day-to-day life.
Do
and
you?
yet, yeah. But you know, as an actor, don't know.
One of the other facts that I found out, apparently, of the Fellowship, he was the tallest one.
I bet he was.
Really?
He's quite a
He's a
hefty
tall
bloke,
guy,
isn't he?
and he plays the dwarf, but he was the tallest out of all the actors.
Oh, weird.
There we are.
There
Do
go.
you happen to know how they made him look so short, as well as the Hobbits, I suppose?
Part of it, but there's a great, if you've got the extended Blu-rays, the editions, there's a great documentary on how they did it. It's perspective
It's
filming.
that
It's,
forced perspective, isn't it?
yeah,
Some
it's
of
very
it, yeah.
bizarre, but very clever. Because
Mm.
I think like Fellowship is probably my favorite of the three. But I think they are so well made that they look better than the Hobbit that Jackson went back to to do the
Yeah.
Hobbit. Just look a lot better visually,
Yeah, yeah.
stylistically.
Even though
Wasn't it all
the
about the frame rate on the Hobbit as well that made it look a bit weird, wasn't there?
Did you
Something to do with
actually
60,
notice that?
60?
I never noticed it.
No, I never quite understood.
Never,
all that,
my
but
eyes
a lot
don't
of
keep
people
up
were
that
complaining
fast.
about it, saying it looked more like a video than a film or something.
It did look like a video game, though, didn't it? The Hobbit.
Interesting. I think the budget for the Hobbit was huge as well. It was
Mm.
way more than all three Lord of the Rings films put together.
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
I can remember the time when Lord of the Rings came out, because didn't the last two come out like 1 year after? It was
They
Christmas,
all
wasn't it?
did. So they came out.
Yeah,
What was it?
consecutive.
2000 or 2001, and then they came out every year
Every
subsequently
year,
after.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
didn't the Matrix do the same thing as well, or something? Because I remember it being like 1 year it was Lord of the Rings, then it was the Matrix. There was something about it where it's sort of they were intertwined with each other or something. I don't know, but
Well, it came out around the same time as Harry Potter.
really?
a simpler time.
Oh, weird.
Wasn't it? A simpler
Yeah.
time. where
Fantasy was, yeah.
Yeah.
Just worrying about what to watch at the cinema was your only worry. Wasn't it lovely?
Now we've
Well-
got to choose off streaming, and what a hassle that
I
is.
know.
Well, say that I actually watched The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time on a pirate video. I know.
I'll have to edit.
So
this out.
they're going to come for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Oh.
statute of limitations is on
I
watching
know.
pirate
Well,
videos.
It was my brother. He did it. He
Oh,
didn't
fair
do it. He
enough.
didn't make it, but he got hold of one and was like,
Yeah.
I've got Lord of the Rings, and we watched it together. And at the time, I thought it was sort of like a Merlin type thing because I knew it had wizards and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is not what I was expecting at all.
Right, fair enough. Okay, then Neil, you're number 10.
So mine is the formation of the Fellowship from Fellowship of the Rings when they're all they choose to go. They're arguing, and little Frodo says, "I'll take it," and the
Yeah.
look on Gandalf's face when he's like, "Oh,
That
But
sounded
that's
almost
the-
exactly like from the movie, Neil, the way you said
It
that.
was.
then.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it." You remember he's
Yeah.
got a little voice. You should have had the little bloke just jumping. I'll
I
do
shall
it.
take it. Don't you find that strange that they're all kind of arguing, like, no, you're not good enough to do it. No, I should do it. No, men aren't strong enough. And then this little hobbit, it's like, I'll take it. And they all go, yeah, all right. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay
fine.
then. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
You're
thank
expendable.
God. Thank God we ain't got it. The little one can do and take it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's it. You're expendable. Off you go. But yeah, that bit, I think it's a really good scene. Like I said, Fellowship of the Ring is probably my favorite of the three movies anyway.
I think it's mine as well. Yeah.
It is probably the best film, but for me, it's The Return of the King, just because it is so long and it's like the gift that keeps giving.
Even
Was it
with
how
the
many
27
endings?
endings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I
can't cope with all the endings anymore. And it's like, and then Sam has to have dinner, and then the next day you see Sam, changing his kids' nappies and stuff. It just never
But on-
stops.
On that their internet, they've done a thing where they put the googly eyes on the end. Have you seen this?
No.
So the end scene when Frodo's in bed and Sam comes in, Have a look. Googly eye Lord of the Rings. Look at this giant googly. Honestly, it's one
I'll
of
put,
the,
if I can find it, I'll put that
it's
on
one
the
of the
video
funniest
playlist for the
things you'll
Patreon
ever
subscribers.
see.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
They made another one as well in that same scene, but they just put really creepy sounds over each of the characters. So like
Right.
when Gimli walks in, he goes and puts his arms up in the air. Someone's just put and then Aragorn walks in and kind of creepily goes it's so good, like definitely
I'll have
worth
to
the
find that
watch.
one as well and put that on the video playlist. Okay, my number 10 is just the whole prologue in on how the ring was formed and how it was forged. The one thing looking at clips and remembering the Lord of the Rings, I mean, Game of Thrones wouldn't have been a thing if it hadn't been for Lord of the Rings, I don't think.
No.
Because the way that it all looks is exactly what Game of Thrones became. I mean, obviously with a bit more flesh and a bit more blood and guts and stuff, but it's so weird how that whole fantasy genre is pretty much all the same, but just with different names and just different places to go. But I did find that the prologue definitely set the tone for what was going to come, this epic adventure between good and evil, which again, every fantasy trilogy or fantasy epic is the same story, basically, isn't it? It's the same thing. That was the one thing that struck me when I watched the new Dune. As everyone knows, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and I'm watching Dune, realizing that this was written before Star Wars, thinking, well, George Lucas just nicked everything from Dune. All of the stuff there is there. It's exactly the same stuff.
Yeah.
All the time I've been there since 1977, thinking what a great original story this is. I think he just nicked everything.
Well, and John Carter, wasn't it? He famously, although that's more Flash Gordon, isn't it?
That was more Flash Gordon, yeah.
But yeah, John Carter from Mars.
Yeah.
But, hey,
crazy. Absolutely. Anyway, go on there, Sophie, your number 9, please.
My number 9 is, okay, again, this is quite niche, and I think this might be in the extended version. So I think it's the third film, Legolas and Gimli have a drinking game. I think it's when they're celebrating after some battle that they've won. And have either of you seen this out of interest, this bit?
I probably have, because I've watched it. If it's I've watched it extended, so I probably just can't remember it at the moment.
So Gimli's kind of explaining to Legolas the rules of a drinking game, and then they end up having loads to drink. And Gimli comes up with this great line, which apparently I've heard was improvised and wasn't like scripted, but he just suddenly goes, "It's the dwarfs that go swimming with little hairy women," or something. And then meanwhile, Legolas is completely stone cold sober, and he kind of looks at his fingers and goes, "Something's happening. There's a slight tingling in my fingers. It's affecting me." Meanwhile, and then Legolas just keels over. It's just so stupid. But my number 9. They get more epic, don't worry.
That's all right. But those are the sort of scenes that stick out personally, isn't it? It's the personal scenes. And there is no wrong or right answer. We've always said this, but yeah, I'm gonna have to have a look, because I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to. It's been a while.
Do you know how many hours an extended edition like marathon would be?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, what was it, Neil?
Well, about 11 hours or something.
I thought 20, but if it's the extended version, all 3 films.
Yeah, could be.
Might be wrong.
It could be, because I don't know. They're about 4 hours each, aren't they? Extended.
I'll tell you what, you've got them, haven't you, Neil? Haven't you got the extended versions?
I have.
Well, then go and watch them. We'll wait for you.
Yeah.
And we'll see how long it takes.
I'm going to Kenya in a few hours.
Oh, right.
I can't stick around.
Well, just stay on the phone. It'll be fine. It gives
on the plane.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be watching it as well on the plane. They always they have it on British Airways at the moment, apparently.
Watch along with.
We could have done it live from the plane. That would be
Yeah, the other passengers would have loved it.
Yeah. Just out of interest, then, where do you guys stand on Orlando Bloom as an actor? I mean, he's a very, very good-looking man, but where, Sophie, what do you think of him as an actor?
I think he plays an all right Legolas, and then he plays an all right whatever his character's called in Pirates of the Caribbean. If I'm honest, I've only seen him in those 2 things.
Oh, right.
He kind of fit the bill for me, but I can't imagine him in anything more gritty or serious.
I watched a film not so long ago where he plays a real like hard nut, Cockney gangster hard nut with his shaved hair. and he was pretty good in that. And Carnival Row, he's all right. He's pretty good in.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's that Amazon series. I quite enjoy that. And that's
have you seen the extras episode that he was in as well? Because that's
that was
pretty
fun.
brilliant. To be fair.
Yeah, I'm
he's
not
quite
the same
funny.
as you though, Sophie. I've not seen him in anything apart from Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think I can think of anything else apart from extras.
I mean, I think that it's probably not his so much his acting as it is just the role of Legolas and the script. But I think it's quite interesting how all the other characters kind of talk quite normally. And then Legolas comes out, and maybe it's an elvish thing. He'll come out and be like, the crows are flying east. Blood has been shed on this morning, or some really poetic stuff, and it just is a bit intense for me.
Or they make that song out of it. They're taking the dwarfs to Eisenhower or whatever it is.
Yeah,
from him.
That's another one you've got to add to.
There we go.
Right then, Neil, you're number 9.
So it's the Battle of. I had to look this up because I didn't know what it was called. It was the battle from Return of the King. I don't know. Return of the King. I know you said Return of the Jedi. The Battle of Minas Tirith is it's a great battle. It includes now it's not better than Helm's Deep battle, but it's the one that has the when Legolas takes down the big elephant.
The
in
Oliphant,
the battle. Oliphant, Timothy Oliphant, the arrival of the dead, and the defeat of the Witch King as well. In this whole battle, it just never ends, doesn't it? And I just think some great moments in that.
Okay, well, I'll
whole
tell you
battle.
that number 5 for me is I'm No Man, which is Eowyn. Is that right?
When she takes him
King.
out,
So
which is in the same battle.
That's in the same battle.
Yeah,
so that's my number 5.
I've got a few from that battle scattered around mine. To be fair, I've got when I think it's the similar. It's when the Rohirrims join the battle. It's on the Pelennor Fields, which is just outside of Minas Tirith. But they, Eowyn's in there with Merry, and then her uncle is kind of giving the, I'm gonna say speech, but I feel like that's not quite the right word for it. But the war cry, and then they all ride in.
They all come out.
Song.
And
I
was a bit too generic, wasn't I, with my battle of?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on there, Neil. I mean, to be fair, my number 2 is for Frodo as well, which is Aragorn.
Oh, it's very specific.
Yeah,
it's 2 words.
Yeah, from the sublime to the ridiculous, we're going here. Neil's doing the whole battle, and I'm just doing 2 words. So
my favourite's the ring.
The
I like
title.
It when they say "and" is what.
Yeah. But they say for Frodo quite a lot, don't they?
I think they do. This was the moment when it looks like everything was all. I think I'm assuming this is the same battle. This is the battle at the end of Return of the King. Yeah.
It's the main big battle. I mean, it goes on for about an hour.
Yeah, so it looks like everything, like they're completely surrounded, and Aragorn just takes his sword and starts walking towards, and he turns to Gandalf and says, "For Frodo," and then runs towards what looks like certain death. And at that point, I think, spoilers, if nobody's watched Lord of the Rings, that's when, is that when they throw the ring into Mount Doom and everything? Because then everything just like collapses and everyone disappears, don't they?
And then you realise at the end of the film, spoilers, that they take it on, they get rescued by the birds. Why didn't they just fly over there to begin with?
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. But they sort of go, when they see Sauron kind of cut, the eye collapsing.
Yeah.
And they all go, Frodo, and then they realise they all of Mordor's just exploding and lava everywhere, and then they go, Frodo.
Yeah.
You're right.
The realisation,
that he's probably snuffed it. Yeah, he's probably not looking good. Okay, so that was your number 9, Neil. So the last 45 minutes of the movie is your
my number 9 is Return of the King.
Yeah,
right. That kind of puts my drinking game to shame a little bit, doesn't it? You can tell one of us took the film more seriously than the other.
Yes. My number 9 is when Gandalf arrives in Fellowship of the Ring. I think that
Bilbo's birthday party, that bit, or
no, right at the very start.
Oh yeah.
Very
yeah.
start when
I'm not
Gandalf,
late.
when Gandalf says, yes, that wizard.
Just like that, turned into Brian Blessed.
Just a bumbling old man.
I really tried, and it
Oh
was.
wow, that was brilliant.
Do the whole film for us, 3.5 hours.
You shall not pass. Yeah, that sounds Brian Blessed, doesn't it? That's terrible.
We Giles and I have an impression of when Gandalf turns from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White and becomes really sassy, and from then on he's like, oh, the ring,
Carry on, Lord of the Rings.
Frodo. Yeah, that's exactly what we said.
Sid James as Gandalf.
Carry on up the ring is what it should be called.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it? That's perfect. That's a perfect carry on name.
Sid James as Gandalf.
But yeah, so when Gandalf arrives, and I mean, it's him and Frodo just chatting a little bit, and they just have a little bit of a chat together.
Little chat. Actually, do you know what I really like about that scene? And I think actually in general this makes Lord of the Rings so epic, is the fact that as a film, it's been choreographed, like the music and the scene has been so perfectly choreographed, and I feel like that's not really done enough in films anymore. No. Because you've got like the bit where the music sort of slightly pauses, and then the fireworks, and it's like da 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 da. It becomes like a work of art, I think.
Completely agree. Sophie, your number 8, then, please.
My number 8 is, okay, this gets a bit more serious. So the exorcism, I don't know if exorcism is the right word, but I'm going to use it anyway. The exorcism of Theoden, when they sort of storm into Rohan, and Gandalf sneaks his staff in, and do you want to do the impression, Pav?
Yeah.
All right.
You wouldn't, what does he say? You wouldn't take an old man's staff, walking stick.
An old man's staff? Was that good enough? That was pretty good.
If Brian Blessed had played him, it would have been brilliant.
Just imagine it's Brian Blessed.
And then Gimli sort of gets worm-tongued and is like, I wouldn't move if I were you. And then, and there's a brilliant sort of jump cut where he sort of expels Saruman out of Theoden, and the scene sort of jumps to Saruman falling back on his floor in his lair. Yeah, I think it's just a really
Bernard
epic...
Hill, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yes. And
Gandalf meant
the
business
name
in
that
that
plays
bit.
Wormtongue? What's the guy?
No idea.
Brad no.
Yes,
Is it
that's
Dorf?
right. Yeah. Because he was the voice of Chucky, wasn't he?
He was.
Really?
Yeah, and he was also in
Yeah.
Deadwood
Wow.
as well. If you've ever seen Deadwood,
He's a creepy looking guy.
He is.
Yeah, he's perfect for the role.
Yeah,
Totally. What a weird name as well, Wormtongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clues in the name. Imagine trying to be a nice person with that name.
Hi,
no,
I'm Mr. Wormtongue.
I'm really honest, honestly.
Yeah. William Wormtongue.
Some names that just tell you exactly what you need to know, isn't there?
Yeah.
Neil.
Yes.
Not that that's a name that means anything.
Yeah.
No, not
Exactly.
at all. So my number 8 is Bilbo's birthday party. It's that bit when they're there to celebrate. When you spoke about the fireworks, where you see Samwise and Merry and Pip getting up to their mischief. I think it's part of the great opening of any movie. That the whole bit, it just builds perfectly. The peacefulness of the
Is there any
Shire.
specific bit? Or are you talking about the whole birthday
Well,
party bit?
I mean, I'm talking.
That's another 40 minutes of the movie.
Well, it's not quite, is it? But I was talking about the main bit of the party when Merry and Pip set off the fireworks. It makes me laugh. It's a really good moment. It's good visual effects as well. But yeah, it builds very nicely there.
Yeah, I like it.
Gandalf's very happy at the beginning, isn't he, as well?
He disappears, doesn't he? Then he put the ring on and disappears.
Yeah,
but that's when,
first you have possibly one of the most iconic quotes of the film, which is dragons. There haven't been dragons in these parts for over 100 years.
That's right. When the big firework comes.
Very good. I mean,
that's because that's something that I say regularly. For no reason.
When one flies over.
Yeah, there haven't been dragons in these. It's like a typical like 80s like style like nonsense, but obviously there's.
But that's after he gives his speech, isn't it? When Bilbo. When he thanks everybody for coming, some of them he wanted to be there, some of them he didn't, and then that's right, because you have all the build up to the party where he says, "Hide, they're coming," the family, and all of that. But yeah, it's the main party when Gandalf's still happy, man, when he's whistling and humming while he's getting his fireworks sorted, and yeah, I just think it's a great scene. He builds the picture brilliantly.
Yeah.
What happened to Gandalf? He changed.
He did.
Frodo.
Okay, just before I do my number 8, so it's Carry On Up the Ring. Okay, which Carry On stars are playing who? So who plays Gandalf? I mean,
I've already said, haven't I? Sid James would be Gandalf.
Sid James would be Gandalf. Do you think?
Yeah,
so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I certainly do.
So who would be Frodo?
Frodo would be Charles Hawtrey.
Someone really bloody annoying. Did anyone have any scenes with Frodo in for their top 10?
Let me see. I've got
yeah,
one.
I've got one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one. Well, the next one.
I haven't got any.
The next one for me is where Samwise carries Frodo. So he is in there.
He's kind of like a secondary role in that bit, though, isn't it?
Well, he's not doing anything.
Just passed out.
Yeah, he's had it now. But it's
my favourite part is when Frodo isn't conscious.
Yes. Yeah. That's my one moment that Frodo's in it. In my top 10 is when he's not even awake. But yeah, that for me it's Sam's moment, isn't it? It's Sam's hero moment. So for me, I love that because it's not just. I mean, Sam looks like he's at his last breath anyway, but he's using every little tiny moment that he's got of any energy, and you get a good close-up of the feet as well on that scene, if I remember correctly, and it's everything, all the fire is coming down, and he's a big sweaty hobbit, or a little sweaty hobbit I suppose, but with his big feet, and he does what needs to be done. So I thought it was a nice heroic moment for Sam there, which I think measures nicely against the stupid thing that he tried to do at the end of Fellowship of the Ring, where he's trying to follow Frodo in the water and he can't swim, so he's almost drowning. And I think, you stupid fat hobbit.
Muppet. Yeah.
Because he can't swim anyway, so he's just putting himself in danger straight away. But yeah,
Sam's a funny one. My favourite part is when Sam takes the ring for like a few days and is like, I've had this the whole time. And he gives it back to Frodo and he's like a crack addict. He's like, give me the ring, give me and Sam's completely unaffected by it. So maybe they chose the wrong hobbit there.
I think they did, absolutely. Right then, Sophie, your number 7, please.
My number 7 is Smeagol's transition into Gollum at the beginning of the third film. So it's the opening scene of the third film of Return of the King.
That is my number 7 too.
Oh,
Smeagol
really?
turns into Gollum.
Yeah, great minds, and it's a great scene as well. Really cool, and I love watching it. Just so much makes sense once you see the transition from Smeagol to Gollum.
And Andy Serkis is absolutely on fire with his acting and that. He's having fun to rip it apart, isn't he?
He's amazing. I wonder partly if he was just sick of like acting on green, like a green screen character, and is like, right, this is my moment. This is my time to shine. But yeah, it's brilliant.
It's very dark. It's almost horror, almost into the realms of horror. It shows Peter Jackson what he used to be good at as well. I mean,
right, horror.
Yeah, I like that. I like that scene a lot.
There's a few moments where it really almost turns into a horror film. You think, this is definitely directed by a horror director.
And how gross that fish looks when he bites into it.
Yeah, he's amazing. And actually, that's kind of when he starts doing the Gollum cough as well, which is another favourite of mine. I don't know if you've heard the story of how Andy Serkis kind of invented the voice of Gollum. Have either of you heard that?
No.
So he said that he was trying to work out in his mind how Gollum's going to sound, and his cat came in and started like coughing up a fur ball, like, and he said, that's it, that's the sound. And if you watch throughout the film, there's parts where he's going like coughing up, and it's amazing. And that's like one of my favorite Gollum moments is the Gollum cough.
Wow.
Gollum cough.
So
can you used to play cricket for England?
Can you do what's your best Gollum cough then, Sophie?
Okay.
Oh, she's even clearing her throat for this. This is serious. Okay.
I know. I had COVID a week or so ago as well, so it's prime time for it.
There we go.
All right, let me see if I can do it. It might sound weird on the mic, but just to let you know.
Okay.
That's very good, actually.
Thank you.
Very good.
Very good. I'm sorry that I've just asked somebody that's just had COVID to really scratch their throat, so I apologise for that. But
I'd like to say that was the first time I've done it this week, but it wasn't. I do it every time I see Giles. We're like, hiya.
Okay, so that's your number 7 as well, Neil.
It is.
So my number 7 is Gandalf versus Saruman in Fellowship of the Ring when they have their fight off.
That's my number 6.
That's your number 6. Okay. Nice. I love Christopher Lee, and especially like older Christopher Lee. I thought he was great in like everything that he ended up turning up being in. Even like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I thought he was great in that. As Count Dooku in the prequel trilogy. He's just got that. He's got that voice. He's got that menace, and with the long white hair.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not him and Sir Ian McKellen doing the stunts or whatever, but it was a real vicious fight. You know, they're being thrown everywhere. But I really enjoyed that. It was a great, especially with the fact that Gandalf. I'm assuming Gandalf at the start of that scene doesn't know that he's evil, but then as it plays out, he realizes that hang on, he's not on our side.
Well, that's why he went there, wasn't it? Is to get his advice.
Yeah.
So
I wonder,
great
do you think that he would have made a good Gandalf though? Because I heard that that's who he wanted to play originally, and they didn't think he would be able to hack the fight scenes because he was quite old at that point.
Yeah, no, I think he's perfect as that.
He's got an air, hasn't he, of menace around an older Christopher Lee throughout his career. Obviously, he made a living out of it, but I think, I think McKellen was sort of the softer, gentler, more. The Gandalf that we would have been used to. I think. Christopher Lee would have been a bit too scary as Gandalf.
Yeah, because I've always been scared of Christopher Lee from being Dracula when he was Dracula.
In the Hammer films,
Scaramanga in Man with Two Brains, not the Man with Golden Gun.
And what's his name? Lord.
With the extra nipple. He had 3 nipples. He did. Yeah, he did. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Okay, Sophie, your number 6, please.
My number 6 is when Aragorn joins the battle in the pirate ship with the Oathbreakers, and jumps out of the boat, and all the dead men of Dunharrow kind of join the battle. And as he jumps out, Gimli kind of goes to Legolas, because at this point they're kind of counting how many people they're killing, and orcs, and
orcs
he goes,
are people too.
Sorry, I know. Where's my?
You're so orcist sometimes, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm not woke enough. And then Gimli sort of says to Legolas, "There's plenty for the both of us. May the best dwarf win." And then they join the battle, and at this point the battle's kind of, it's quite tough, so they join at a good moment, and I think that's when Aragorn then kind of saves the day, because Eowyn's about to be killed by an orc, and he kind of just jumps into the battle and stabs him and jumps off again.
I'm gonna jump on the back of that, because I've got Gimli and Legolas kill count at my number 6. So I've got that little section there when they're saying that I was 42 or 43 or whatever it is, so they're doing their own count. So that's part of that. But yeah, no, that's a good one.
No, it's a great scene.
And he brings down the Legolas brings down the Oliphant, and he goes, "Well, that still only counts as one."
Yes, that's right. Okay, so Neil, your number 6 is Gandalf versus Saruman. My number 6 is Gimli and Legolas kill count. So we're halfway through, and I need to get that one. And so it's time for this. Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button. That one. Oh, nope, it's not that. Oh, God almighty. Hang on. Bear with me. It's this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Right. Pop quiz, hot shot. So we've got a quiz. Did I tell you about this, Sophie?
No, this is exciting. I did a pub quiz yesterday.
Oh, right.
And how did you do?
We
These
came
are-
fourth out of like 14 people. So
That's not
good.
bad. That's not bad. So we've got. I haven't got my bell. Oh, there's my bell. Okay, they're all Lord of the Rings questions. It's the first one to 3, and if you get it wrong, it goes over to the other person. So Sophie, you're the guest. You can go first or second.
I'll go second.
Okay, Neil, are you ready?
Yes, as ready as I can be.
How many Academy Award nominations did the Fellowship of the Ring receive?
11.
It didn't. Sophie, how many do you think?
Okay, I don't have a clue, but I know that the Return of the King won one, didn't it? And it's
It
like
won a lot, yeah.
And I think it was the only one out of the 3 of them that did. So I'm just going to say 0.
It actually got 13 nominations. It got 13
Oh wow,
nominations.
I was wildly wrong. It didn't win any then, or it did?
So, well, Sophie, your question is, how many did it win out of 13 nominations?
0?
No.
Did it win 13? Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
It might be. Neil?
I'm going to go something like 5.
It's not. It was 4. It was
Oh.
4.
Ooh.
Okay, Neil. What was the mountain in Middle-earth called where Gollum took the ring?
Oh, dear. Misty something. Misty Mountain.
It's not. Sophie?
I don't know. And at what point do you mean that he took it?
Well,
Where he hid out. You mean the mountain that he stored it in the cave?
Well, it's where they took the ring at the end. Put it that way.
Oh,
right. The mountains
Mount
of
Doom.
Mordor.
It is Mount Doom. Well done, Sophie. This is your question, Sophie. What is the relationship between Éowyn and Eoma?
brother and sister?
It's not, I'm afraid. Neil?
I don't think who they even are in the film. So, can you tell me who played them?
No.
Éowyn's the I am no man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cousins.
It's not. They were sisters.
Oh, okay.
They were sisters.
I did not know that was a woman's name.
No. Neil, what is
Yes.
the Ent called whom Pippin and Merry meet in Fangorn Forest in the Two Towers?
Isn't it Beard Tree or something?
Well,
Beard.
are you asking or are you telling me?
Beard Tree.
Is not right.
Oh,
Sophie?
damn it.
Treebeard.
It is. I have to take your first answer, Neil. So for the win, then, Sophie, your win in Return of the King, which character does the title of the movie refer to?
Aragorn.
I don't know what the press first.
Oh, you almost went to the wrong one then.
Well done.
Like, don't you tell
Well
me that's
done.
wrong. Thank you.
It's a 3-0 victory for our guest. There.
And well
done.
deserved.
Neil, would you have got that last question? I feel that's a fairly easy one.
Yeah, I would have got that last one.
Okay.
But that
It
would
would've-
have still only been 1 point. So
Yeah.
So well done.
and tree beard and beard tree, eh?
Beard tree.
I mean,
that was just lazy, you know.
I was
Beard tree
looking
is
at
not
it,
right,
you know.
is it?
I was looking at on my directory and his surname came up first, so sorry.
Beard, Mr. Beard, yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Beard Tree. Okay. So there we go. We got that done. Sophie, back to you with your number 5 then, please.
Okay, number 5 is Boromir's death.
That's my number 4.
That's
Right,
my
mate.
number 4.
Oh, you have to have it on there.
Yes,
you know.
it's moving. It's the first shock of the trilogy, I think.
Well,
Major
at this
shock.
point, any film that Sean Bean is in, you're kind of like, well, he's probably going to die quite early on.
Mm.
So was it that shocking? I suppose
I had it in
back
my top
then.
10 as Sean Bean dies again. I didn't even mention Boromir just because that's what it was.
But it was
You-
a brutal death. It was a brutal
was.
death.
Yeah. Do you think Sean Bean's just got a really busy schedule or something, and he's just can't commit to like seeing a full film through?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets bored really, really quickly and just feels like I just want to. Yeah, I mean, even Game of Thrones. It was like, oh my god,
I know.
again, spoilers. He's gone, and nobody thought, oh my god, he was the star of the thing.
What was that, like the first episode or something?
It was like the second from last episode of the series, but it was like totally out of the blue. No, but he was the
hero.
The advertising was just him, and you thought, oh my god, they're not going to kill him. Someone's going to save him.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful scene, and Aragorn kisses him, and yeah, it's just, I think it's really cool. It's really epic. It's the first part where the Fellowship of the Ring gets really like adrenaline-y, I think. And he takes all those arrows like a champ. And then
I was going to say, it takes more than one arrow to bring him down, doesn't it?
And it's like I say, it's brutal. And remember that first movie is only a PG certificate. Fellowship of the Rings, it's only a PG.
That surprises me, actually. But yeah, I feel like there's some sketchy moments in there. But yeah, I mean, I always find it funny that he kind of, he tried to take the ring, and he was kind of a little bit funny about Aragorn being the potential heir to the throne. And then once he's dying, he's kind of like, I would have followed you to the end, my king. And you're like, really? Would you though? Really though? Like, I'm pretty sure you're only dead because you tried to take the ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he got what was coming to him. That's what he did.
He's a hypocrite. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's slag him off
and he's the favourite. He's the golden child as well.
Exactly.
Everyone loves Boromir.
Yeah.
So that's why it was my favourite, because he finally died.
Yeah.
No, just
Get
him out of here.
Okay, then Neil, you're number 5, please.
Is Shelob in Return of the King, the giant spider? Now, I hate spiders at the best times, and I had read the books ages ago in my teenage years and found them quite hard to get through. But I was always picturing how they would do the spider on the film, and they did it so well, especially the way he talked and that. It wasn't stupid as it sounds, but it's also very creepy. But then we talk about, Sam rescuing Frodo. That's where he did it again, isn't it? But yes, the spider bit.
Nice.
Yeah, when he gets all woven up in the web stuff, and yeah.
That's
to be fair, Frodo's pretty useless through all of it, and he's always getting stabbed or caught or.
Frodo apparently fell down 36 times in the film.
Well done. Did you? You didn't count that. You found that on the internet, didn't you?
I counted.
Did you count that?
No, I didn't.
That's impressive.
But I have to admit, though, when I was a teenager, I had a huge crush on Elijah Wood, like huge, and my planner at school, my like school journal planner thing, was just covered in pictures of Elijah Wood that I like cut out from like the newspaper, because it would have been around the time Lord of the Rings was coming out, I guess, and there was lots of like press for it. I'd say every time a Lord of the Rings thing came out in the paper, I would cut it out and stick it on my planner at school.
Really? What was it, the pointy ears?
It's the big feet.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, because he's bloody useless, isn't he, really? Like, he's the worst character, hands down, in Lord of the Rings. And he's
only a little farmer boy from the Shire. He wasn't used to all this adventure.
He's so self-pitying, honestly. Like, Sam goes through just as much. So do the other. I mean, the other two bloody fought in battle.
Yeah.
Merry and Pippin, they don't get enough credit. And then Frodo by the end is like, so I can't even stay in the Shire, I have to leave with the elves, sorry.
Yeah, that I never understood. I'm sure someone will be able to explain to me why he does that, but I never.
To die, isn't it? I think they go off with the elves to die. I think that's what's the poignant bit. But maybe I'm wrong. Die, not cry. Oh, I thought you said cry.
No, I mean, why? Why does he got to go off with the elves? Why can't he just stay in the Shire and just enjoy the rest of his...
Do you see how well the elves lived compared to the hobbits in the Shire? He's got the chance to go and get nursed by the elves. I don't know. I'm just trying to think.
Well, you're not selling it to me, Neil. I must admit, you're not.
Live in the forest with loads of whatever floating around.
I think he was. Some people say he was possibly dying anyway, because when he got stabbed by the ringwraith, that never healed. So there was some people saying, "Oh, well, he's still, he's actually died. So he is unwell. He's dying." Right. And they kind of allude to that when he says, "Oh, it's been 4 years to the day since Weathertop." And
because doesn't he when he's finishing writing the book, doesn't he sort of hold his shoulder or something, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As if like he's still feeling the pain of it.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But I don't know if he's just messed up in the head as well. And
Yeah,
you know, as a ring bearer, he's allowed to go.
But talking of Elijah Wood, have you seen the pictures? Well, you may not have. He's the villain in the remake of the Toxic Avenger.
No.
Oh, is he?
And the Toxic Avengers starring Peter Dinklage, talking of Game of Thrones, and Elijah Wood's the bad guy. Have a look if you do get a chance on the pictures.
Oh, cool.
I'm not sure you'll fancy him anymore.
Reignite my passion.
Maybe not.
Yeah, because he played a bit of a disturbed character in Sin City as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Maniac.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He plays some really creepy people, to be fair.
And
Frodo's the least of it.
Yeah, he's been going so long. I mean, he was in The Good Son, wasn't he, with Macaulay Culkin?
Back to
When
the
they were
Future.
kids.
Back to the Future too.
Oh yeah, he was in Back to the
Yeah.
Future too.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind as well.
Oh yeah.
He's been
Been
around
going
the
a
block.
while, hasn't he?
He's been going a while.
Okay, my number 5 was I'm No Man, Eowyn versus the Witch King.
Nice.
So, Sophie, you're number 4.
So mine was the bridge scene with the Balrog in the mines of Moria. So the typical you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Fly, you fools.
Yes.
And couldn't not include that. I probably wouldn't have, but it's everyone's favorite, and I hear people say it all the time. So
Yeah,
it's
that to
pretty
me is
epic.
that's the Obi-Wan Kenobi dying at the hands of Darth Vader in Star Wars. That's him succumbing to the what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Not succumbing. He's sacrificing himself so that everyone else can get away. But yeah, I see what you mean there. Great scene. I mean, yeah, because it's like what is it he says? He said, "Run, you fools," or something.
Fly, you fools.
Fly,
Yeah.
you fools. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to work out because I was googling the "you shall not pass" thing because it seemed very specific. I think in the book it's slightly different. It's like you cannot pass or something, but I think that they took it from, or Tolkien took it from, like World War One kind of propaganda, some like French. It used to be like a French war cry. I think they used to.
Oh right.
You shall not pass in French, obviously. I don't know if that is exactly where he got it from, or if it's just people that have like decided, he obviously meant that. But yeah, that was quite interesting.
It's definitely a trailer moment, though, isn't it? The "you shall not pass," without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
unless it's the way I do it. Like that, then maybe it's a bit different. It's not quite a trailer moment.
The coffee percolator, Gandalf.
Balrog! Oh no!
Yeah.
Okay, Neil, your number 4 was Boromir's death, and that is also my
Bean
number
and
4.
gone.
Sean Bean dies again. So we're back to you, Sophie, for your number 3.
So my number 3 was the Battle of Helm's Deep. There's a few bits specifically I like Legolas surfing down the stairs on that shield and picking off orcs with his bow and arrow.
It's my number 3 as well, may I just say.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Great minds. We've got similar experience here.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
Yeah. And then earlier on, it's toss me.
Yeah, that's...
In fact, I think it's the bridge scene, actually.
Hang on, is this the normal Lord of the Rings, or is this the carry-on Lord of the Rings?
This is both. This is both.
Yeah. And then there's the bit with the Uruk-hai running in with the explosive, and Legolas is desperately trying to stop him. Aragorn's like, stop him, and he's trying to pick him off with arrows, and he jumps in and unfortunately blows open the tunnel, the gates.
It does, but it's to me, it's one of the first. It's a great battle scene, isn't it? It just it is so intense that it just goes. I think it's fantastic, the whole bit. Like you said, the bit when there's some really cool bits, like Legolas, like we said, surfing down the orcs and the steps. It's just very, very, very good.
Very epic, and great music as well.
Yeah, the best battle in Lord of the Rings.
Do you think you prefer that one?
Yeah, for sure. With the rain, the dark, the intensity, you actually do think they're going to snuff it. Until Gandalf the White comes running over the top. Oh
yeah, I always thought, because he says, doesn't he, like, look to, when he leaves and he takes a horse and he just goes, look to the west, blah blah blah, whatever it is. He says it once, and Aragorn somehow remembers that. I've watched the film hundreds of times and I can't even remember what he says. It's like, how did Aragorn remember exactly when to look and where, and he does, and he turns up from the west or wherever he said he was coming from with the Shadowfax. So,
Mind you, if you've been chased by orcs and goblins and whatever, you might remember such things. It was at the moment we know it's a documentary, so
yeah, exactly. Well,
It's a
trauma
document.
exactly.
Everyone reacts differently to trauma, don't they?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's true.
My number 3 is from one of the endings of Return of the King, and it is the "You bow to no one" moment. When the Aragorn is being crowned the king, and it's just a very sweet moment because they're the little. I keep saying the hobbits.
The little
just
hobbits.
There, just there, and they start bowing, but then he goes, "Oh, my friends, you bow to no one," and then everybody bows to the hobbits, which I think is such a sweet. And that's when the film should have finished. It's a perfect way for the film to finish.
Yeah,
everything's all sewn up, beautiful, a lovely, positive way for the movie to finish, and then it goes on for another half an hour, and there's no need for it at all. But that's just
no
my
need.
opinion. Yeah, just my opinion.
Yeah. Do you know what I find funny about that scene as well? Is the entrance of Arwen again, because she was dying or whatever, and then she comes in covered in she's holding like a big leaf thing, and for me, I wonder if she had a discussion with her family, right, I'm going to make a big entrance. I'll be holding a big leaf thing, so Dad, if you could just stand in front and block the vision. Legolas, you introduce me, and then I'll come in, and there'll be a grand entrance, and then you take the leaf afterwards. It's just so weird. Sophie,
the way you described that, I thought of a burlesque dancer with a big feather when they come out.
That's kind of how she makes her entrance. I was like, is that rehearsed? Or can you imagine if you go to meet up with someone, to go on a date or whatever, and you turn up with a big fan covering your face. This is my whole.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, this is my kin. My kin are going to introduce me.
And when you said her family, I thought you meant Steven Tyler. That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, and then he does a rendition of "Dream On." It's weird. It's the extended version.
Yeah. The planning that must go into that would be crazy. Okay, so that was my number 3. So we're back to you, Sophie, for your number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is when the Rohirrims join the Battle of Pelennor Field. So again, this is I think it's the Battle of Minas Tirith.
It is.
And I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, it's it's this music, it's that specific soundtrack. I don't know why, it just makes me feel like I'm back in the olden days when we used to have proper battles and stuff.
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. Yeah, exactly. It's something that only people from countries like England with a real history will understand.
It is. It's like the medieval times, isn't it? Yeah,
it really is. And I just think, God, people used to actually do this. They used to get all psyched up and go into battle and crazy, absolutely crazy. And the horses, it's horrible.
I can remember when we did our top 10 historical moments, or that you'd like to go back to. I always said about that, just go and look at medieval England and see just what a horrible place it must have been. Unless you were really rich, it must have been just disgusting to live there. And like you say, people walking around just lobbing people's heads off with swords and stuff, and not giving a tinker's cuss about
a tinker's cuss.
It's just crazy. But yeah.
Even if you were wealthy, I wouldn't want to live in medieval times.
No,
still pretty grim, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All sorts of plagues flying around.
Indeed. Go on then, Neil, you're number 2.
So this is a prelude to Helm's Deep. It's the build-up, the tension before. I always remember this because it really does build the tension of Helm's Deep battle really well. But there's also some great humour in it, but like Legolas and Gimli again, where Legolas asks Gimli if he wants a box to see what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that. I just think it encapsulates, like I say, the tension so bleeding well. It really does. And it does. That's why I think it's a better battle than the other one from Return of the King. because it builds it up so much. You've got this dread coming. You can see them all, like I say, in the dark, in the rain, banging their swords, banging their shields.
Yeah,
Shit's going down, bro.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Even imagine. Although they do have that sort of vibe in the Return of the King when I guess it's daytime, so it's a slightly different vibe. But Gandalf's chatting to Pippin, and it actually gets a bit weird because then he starts sort of like talking about death and what death is like and stuff, and it's quite poetic. But yeah, they have that feeling of like waiting for battle, and it's like, oh, it must make you feel so sick.
That is a big surprise, Neil, because I thought you would have just put that one in with the Battle of Helm's Deep and gone for the full hour.
Well, like I said, I've only got 3 in my top 10.
No.
The first one is Return of the Jedi.
My number 2 was for Frodo, Return of the King. So before we actually tell everybody what our number 1s are, Sophie, do you want to give us a rundown from 10 to 2? Neil will do 10 to 2, and then I'll do my 10 to 2, and then we'll reveal our number 1s. Okay,
so starting at the quite inane, the dwarf breathes so loud we could have shot him in the dark. That guy.
That was Kenneth Williams then. That was that was straight from Carry On.
That's just how my brain interprets stuff. I don't know. He does say it like that though. From now on, every time you watch the first film, Legolas and Gimli's drinking game. Got a slight tingling in my fingers. The exorcism of Theoden, so when he gets exorcised of Saruman. Smeagol's transition into Gollum and the Gollum cough. Aragorn joining the battle with the Oathbreakers and jumping out of the pirate ship. Boromir's death. Bridge scene with Balrog in the mines of Moria. So Ye Shall Not Pass. The Battle of Helm's Deep. So Legolas surfing down the stairs on the shield and the Uruk-hai running in with the explosive. Number 2, when the Rohirrims join the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Lovely. That's yours. Neil, your 10 to 2?
So at number 10, I had the formation of the Fellowship. And Frodo, I will take it. Number 9, the Battle of Minas Tirith. All of it.
Yes.
Number 8, Bilbo's birthday party from Fellowship. Number 7, Smeagol turns into Gollum. Number 6, Saruman versus Gandalf from Fellowship. Number 5, Shelob from Return of the King. Number 4, Boromir's Death, Fellowship. Number 3, Battle of Helm's Deep. And at number 2, the pre-battle of Helm's Deep.
Okay. My number 10 is the prologue at the start of Fellowship of the Ring. 9, Gandalf arrives, Fellowship of the Ring. 8, Samwise carries Frodo, Return of the King. 7, Gandalf versus Saruman. 6, Gimli and Legolas's kill count. 5, I'm No Man, Eowyn versus the Witch King. 4, Sean Bean dies again, Fellowship of the Ring. 3 was You Bow to No One, Return of the King. And number 2, for Frodo, Return of the King. So, Sophie, what is your number 1 Lord of the Rings movie moment?
Well, for me, it's already been said. I will tell you that.
Oh.
For me, it's when Eowyn destroys the Witch King of Angmar. And
right.
I am no man. And absolutely love it. It gives me goosebumps every time, maybe because I'm a woman and I'm representing for all the women out there. And yeah, I just think it's really, really poignant. And I like that Merry has a little part in it as well. He plays his part because he kind of swipes at the Nazgul's legs or whatever, gets him to his knees, and then and then he sort of says, "Oh, don't come between a Nazgul and his prey," or something. It's just so epic. Like the whole scene is just epic, and I think she's a legend.
King, contorts and just buckles when it gets killed, and that
crumples like a piece of paper. And do you know what? I think Eowyn as a character, I feel bad for her because Aragorn's playing the field a little bit. She doesn't know that he's got this stunning elven woman waiting for him, and she thinks, "Oh, I might stand a chance with him," and then he kind of breaks her heart a little bit, and then she loses her uncle, and she loses her cousin, I guess. And yeah, I think fair play to you, Owen.
She doesn't know that this elven princess is party planning, like miles away, working out with a big leaf and all stuff like that. She doesn't know, does she?
Singing along to it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Aragorn's kind of like being a bit of a commitment phobe, isn't he, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't got much going on, so he could have popped back early.
I know. He keeps trying to get rid of that bloody necklace as well. And he tries throwing it off the edge of the cliff, and that doesn't work.
Right then, Neil, you're number one.
So mine was talked about earlier, and it's "You Shall Not Pass." The bit with Gandalf on the bridge fighting the Balrog, I think is great. It's just we hate to mention the I word, but when we talk about Lord of the Rings, I think this is the most iconic bit. It's been parodied beyond belief. It's been it's firmly in film history now, that bit, I think, and I couldn't not. And it's very impressive to have seen it on the big screen. With that, I thought it was done really well.
Yeah,
completely agree. My number one, you've both said it, and it is the Battle of Helm's Deep. I think it's one of the greatest battles that's ever been put to celluloid or whatever you want to call it, digital media or whatever. It's just absolutely epic. But I'm going to go from the build up all the way to the end of the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Do it.
Yeah.
Fill your boots,
So
pal.
we're going for like an hour and a half as my number one. Right, before we do anything else, let's just we've got a couple of honourable mentions. Doug Simpson, who's a top head. Hello, Doug. Said, can't wait for this one. Riders of Rohan arrive at Pelennor. Merry and Pippin dancing the tables at Edoras. Gandalf returns. Gollum talking to his reflection in the water. Gandalf and Pippin ride through Minas Tirith. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli's first appearance in Two Towers. Chasing the Uruk-hai. Beacons of Minas Tirith. Saruman reveals his army to Grimma. And Bilbo's birthday party fireworks. Daniel Stone says best moments is Theoden's battle speech at Pelennor Fields. Peter Jackson only wanted actors, extras that had read the books and understood how powerful that moment was to be in front line, to portray more emotion in it, as they also had to be able to recite the speech, also with the music score behind it. If the hairs on the back of your neck aren't standing, are you even human?
Yeah, it is that song particularly, like even when you hear it outside of battle, just a normal day, it makes your the hairs on your arm stick up. Also, I'm surprised that no one said the beacon, the lighting of the beacons. And
didn't
then
think about that one, to be perfectly honest.
I actually took it out of my list because I thought,
you?
it's too obvious. Like everyone's, because it's so beautiful, and obviously then Aragorn runs in and it's like, the beacons have been lit, and then Theoden's kind of like, then Rohan shall respond, or whatever it is. So
yeah, nice. Chris Waylanger said Samwise's speech when Frodo can't go on. Faramir and Eowyn's meet cute in the book, not the movie. Gimli and Legolas's contest about how many kills they make. Gandalf and Pippin, all the fool of a took moments, culminating with that sweet moment where he reassures him during a battle. Boromir fighting to save the hobbits and redeeming himself. And the moment when Frodo can't throw the ring into Mount Doom. Speaking of which, why would it not suffice to drop the ring into a fissure of lava on the side of the volcano? Maybe we should...
or like I said, just get on the birds to begin with and fly over and drop it.
There are so many questions like that we could be in there. Well, that's it. We've done it. Top 10 Lord of the Rings moments.
Please come back for the extended version, which goes on for 10 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just the edited version.
Yeah.
So, Sophie, you said that you're off to Kenya. Is this holiday or is this work?
This is work. It always is with me because I'm a workaholic. But yeah, we're doing. I can't really speak too much about the project because it's kind of what's the word? Secret. But but I'm sure there's a more fancy professional word than that. But yeah, it's it hasn't been announced yet. But we're going out there only for a week for a flying visit and shooting some wildlife while I'm there as well, hopefully. And
nice.
Yeah, it's great. I can't wait.
Nice. And what have you got coming up on Unquestionable? Anything that you can tell us about?
Well, we've got great interviews with great people. First of all, last week we were recording with a Buddhist monk. would you believe, who is just very wise and calm. And it was actually, we recorded that episode of the Monday that I had that evening. I was co-hosting an award ceremony in front of all these people, and I was super nervous about it. So as soon as he walked through the door, I was like, oh, help me out. How do I calm my nerves? And he gave me all these tips, and it was just so lovely. But yeah, we've got some great guests lined up, and we talk a lot about sort of like self-improvement stuff. Sometimes we talk about nutrition, money. We cover all of the topics. There's something for everyone. And then occasionally we just have a really cool guest on that is interesting and has a cool story. So yeah, Unquestionable.
Well, we will put the link in the show notes. I'll also put the link for your Twitter X in the show notes as well, so people can. I take it you've got a website and everything as well, so we can put that on the show notes, just so people can see the artwork that you do. Because I love the fact that the videos that you do are showing you doing the art as well. It's not just the finish. And I honestly, I would love to be able to draw, but I don't understand how people can start things off. Yeah. With a blank canvas. How do you do it?
Help me.
Help me. You know, it's just, I just find it fascinating, because how do you do it?
Well, I mean, it depends on your style, because obviously what I'm creating is very realistic. It's kind of like hyperrealism. And so I have to create stuff in layers, and you need the depth, because otherwise it just looks flat. It doesn't look like real. It just looks like a picture. So what I tend to do is I work my way, but you know, when I look, for example, if I'm using reference pictures or whatever it might be, I look at the image and I work my way from the darks forward into the light, because essentially everything that's further towards you is closer to the light. Yeah. And if you're looking at hairs, for example, or fur, all the fur and the hairs in the background are in the shadows, right? So then the hairs in front are catching the light. And it's the same, even if you look in the mirror, like it's just stuff you probably never even think about, but you look in the mirror and there's like hairs that are catching the light, right? And yeah, so that's basically what I do. Start from the dark, work my way forward to the light, in layers. I work in acrylic, but it's a lot of trial and error. I'm not going to say it's, you know, something you can just pick up and just do without practicing.
This will probably be probably the most difficult question to answer, but do you have a favorite piece you've done so far?
Yeah, my favorite is always the piece that I've just finished. Right. So, and then I get bored of it. But yeah, I get to a point where I get a bit sick of looking at the same thing. But yeah, I think I finish a piece and I'm like, yeah, this is my new favorite. And then I start the next piece, because I think as an artist or any creative, you're always improving and you're always learning. And so the piece that I've just finished now will be even better than the piece that I did last year, for example. I do like, for example, that I did a lion called Majesty. I do like that one. And there's an African wild dog called the Watcher, and a snow leopard called Stealth. Those three are possibly some of my favorites. They were in my last collection last year, but the collection that I've got on the go at the moment is very different, and it's a little bit more conceptual. So I think, yeah,
okay.
I'll have some favorites.
And how long roughly does it take you to do one of these pieces?
A couple, 2 or 3 months usually, depending on how much I procrastinate and there's any trips that break into it. You know, if I start a piece, sometimes I'm off on a trip somewhere and I have to put it on pause, which is exactly what's happened actually with this piece I'm working on at the moment. I'm doing an orangutan, and I've really been struggling with it. It's been an absolute bloody nightmare, to be honest with you. Just the skin I've found really hard to wrap my head around, because it's wrinkly skin, but also it's got hairs on it as well.
Right.
And just as I got sort of into the swing of it, I was like, I think I'm getting the hang of it. That was yesterday, and now I've had to put the paintbrush down and go away for a week, and I'll probably forget how to paint by the next time I come to paint. But yeah, so it's tricky, but yeah, 2 or 3 months and I should hopefully have a piece done.
Excellent. Well, we'll put the information up on the show notes if anybody wants to check out your stuff. I thoroughly recommend people to do it, because it is breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking.
Oh, thank you.
Before we say our goodbyes then, Neil, do you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch and all that gubbins?
Absolutely, I will. You can find us on all the social medias at Top 10 Pods. Give us a click, give us a like, give us a follow, give us whatever it is you do on these platforms. Email us at top10pods@hotmail.com with any suggestions for top 10s. That would always be fascinating. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/top10pods. All sorts of rewards up for your delights. And check out all of the links via the link tree. You can find the link in the show notes. And please do come subscribe, leave us a review and rating wherever you get your podcast from.
Thank you. Now, thank you, Neil, for last week for holding down the fort.
Pleasure.
While I wasn't able to be here. I do have something I need to say. I thought you were very good. Well done for a start for being the host. I thought you were great. During honourable mentions, I do like the fact that you read out Clee Torres, Chris Peacock, and Pat My Ass. Thank you so much. I was laughing my ass off.
But if you listen, we actually laughed at the Chris Peacock.
Well, the Chris Peacock, you said, yeah. And then, but it was the way you went and pat my ass at the end. I was absolutely wetting myself while I was listening to that. So thank you for not, I thought he's Clee Torres. He's going to know that that's a made up name, and you just went straight through it. So
was it you, Pav?
That I sent him the honourable mentions, and I thought I'm going to put a few, was just to see whether you would.
I just had my Ron Burgundy moment where I was just reading straight off.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, that you would be so, I've got to do the job, I've got to get it right. So he wasn't even going to think that they were going to be.
And there's me reading it away and making notes on the side of what I've got to send to you, probably. But I did twig the Chris Peacock.
You did.
Was a joke one. Because
but then if they'd have been real people and they would have been our Patreon subscribers, you'd have upset them by not saying their name.
Well,
so
I
was thinking.
Yeah. I'd have still laughed if they'd have said their name was Chris Peacock, obviously.
It is when you say that.
Yeah, you've got a stupid name.
Yeah.
Indeed. Sophie, thank you so much. We will be in touch when we reboot the Carry On franchise. You can come on as a producer and a writer, and we will. I
was getting a character. There's different ones, like there's like Carry On Sam and stuff. Carry On Frodo.
Yeah, we could make a whole franchise out of it.
I can't carry you, if you can't walk, Frodo. I'll carry you. Oh,
look at me ring. Oh
God.
Anyway,
thanks so much, guys. Thank
you. It was so much fun having you, and hopefully you'll come back and join us again. That'd be lovely. We'll find something a lot more. Even more fun to do. That was
a lot more. You almost slipped up there. Yeah. We'll find something much better. I mean, also good.
Not that we can find. You know what I mean. Oh goodness. Anyway, thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you very much, Pab. Been great to meet you, Sophie. It's been enjoyable.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. And let's go start the countdown.
10, 9.